Hi and welcome to Between the Lines. I'm Laura.
And I'm Jade, and we're here to talk about everything health and fitness, wellness,
Homeschooling, relationships,
parenting. I think we already said that. No, we said homeschooling, not parenting.
Yeah. Sex life.
Sex life, absolutely. Today, on episode 3, we are talking about boundaries and burnout. That is our big topic for today. We are by no means experts. We are a work in progress, but that is our topic for today.
I think it's something that we actually probably discuss on the daily, so that's why that's why we wanted to bring it through. And a lot of women that I talk to struggle with this part of finding balance in our lives.
Absolutely. It's one of those things that goes back to what we talked about in the last couple of podcasts, which is that negative self-talk. I know myself, we only had a conversation the other day where I'm trying to scale back the amount of hours that I'm working in the business. I want to work on the business, but I'm trying to scale back the hours that I'm in the business. And then I started saying to myself, well, if I'm not doing everything, then what am I contributing? Like, what value do I bring if I'm not doing everything?
Yeah.
And that is where the boundaries come into effect, and you've really got to step back and go, well, hold on a minute, but I need time. I need time for me.
Yeah.
I bring values. It's that quantity over quality, as you pointed out to me when I was complaining.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think as well, in terms of being a mother, if you've got multiple children as well and you're trying to work your job, you're trying to keep the house clean, it can come into forms of I'm a failure as a mother, not keeping up with everything that I need to. And I think that ties in with perfectionism as well.
Oh, absolutely. It's that whole wanting to do everything for everyone.
Yeah.
And feeling like we're not succeeding if we're not doing everything for everyone. That's the challenge. Do you create any boundaries now around your home life, around being a mum and house cleaning and things like that? Is there anything that you do to create those boundaries?
I definitely talk with my husband about when I'm getting to that point of I can't keep on top of all of this.
Yep.
And he steps up and he understands and he listens. My children are still quite young, so getting them to sort of chip in and help is not really happening at the moment, but I definitely let it be known that I need some help. And if I don't, it can come out in resentful ways and attitudes and
just that feeling of overwhelm and that feeling like you're failing again. Yeah, and then telling yourself that you're failing. I think that's one of the lessons, is that we need to recognise when those boundaries are being crossed and that we're not failing.
Yeah.
We're not failing. We just can't keep up with everything, but we've just put unrealistic goals on ourselves to make these things happen.
Yes.
I see you raised your eyebrows. You're like, you should take your own damn advice.
Like I said, we are not experts in any of this. We are always working on it. So what have you done in terms of your business to take those steps towards setting boundaries?
So in terms of business, setting boundaries, my phone goes on to do not disturb.
Yeah.
So an hour after we close for the day, my phone goes on to do not disturb. I also, mainly, that was the main reason I did that, was that if I see a text message or a phone call come through, I have this overwhelming urge to respond.
Yeah.
So I had to come up with a strategy that meant that my boundaries were in place, my nighttime time with my family stayed in place, but I didn't feel guilt, basically. Didn't feel that I'm not good enough because I'm not taking care of my customers by not being there 24/7 for them.
Yeah.
So phone goes on do not disturb an hour after we knock off, and I have spent the best part of a year transferring all the customers over to a dedicated mobile. So each business has its own dedicated mobile number rather than people just calling me.
Yeah.
So they have to call the office. They have to call and speak to someone, and then I can respond during my work hours.
Yeah.
Rather than after my work hours.
Yes. I was just, that is a really good point. I was thinking about at home where I say, Mum is going out for 20 minutes or I'm going into my room, and if Dad's at home, I think it was on a Bluey episode as well. I was like, that's a great idea. And I think it's, if you are in a relationship, talking with your partner and getting them to understand that you need that time. And I think, what was that quote that I heard? That self-care is giving people the best of you rather than, what was it? What's left of you.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I like that one. That's a really nice quote.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that you can bring the value back into the family, back into your business.
Yeah. I think another area of my life I've really struggled with is family boundaries. So not just inside like our little family group here, but, taking away from this little family to spend time with the broader family or broader friends. We, at the moment, we're in a season where we work a lot of hours. And, someone will message me and go, can you catch up for a coffee or can you come over for dinner? And I'm such a people pleaser that I don't like saying no.
Yeah.
So then I go and over-explain myself. So, you say, no, I can't do this, but then I go into a big explanation. Oh, look, I'm working 70 hours. I am not sleeping. I've got nothing left in the tank.
Yeah.
But you mentioned a really good strategy earlier that you use when you need to say no.
Yeah, I think over the years I've learned to say no without giving an explanation.
Yeah.
But I used to definitely do it, over-explain myself, try to come up with a good enough answer why I can't do something. But with friends or family, I can just respond, I'm sorry, we can't make it. And if they have respect for you, they don't need to pry any further than that.
I was going to say, I doubt there'd be any pushback, but in here it feels like there's going to be.
Yeah, and that's a need for love.
Yep.
Yeah, if I can do for other people, and if I can always say yes, and if I can always toe the line, then they will love me.
And I'm always giving them value.
Yeah.
Always giving them value. And then that adds to my value, but that's not the case, right?
Yeah.
So giving to everyone all the time is taking away from your value.
Yeah.
Taking away from your self-care and your self-love.
Yeah.
Because you're giving it away.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's just finding that healthy line and starting to listen to your body and understanding the cues of when you're reaching that burnout point, when you have been over-giving and you haven't been putting the boundaries in place.
Yeah, burnout's pretty tricky because it can, if you've never experienced it before, it just kind of sneaks up on you. A few years ago, Scott and I went through major burnout, and it was, it came from our business, giving something to everyone, answering phone calls at 3 o'clock in the morning, bending over backwards to fit customers in. And we started to resent it. We hated going to the workshop. We hated seeing customers. I'd ignore my phone. And I love talking to people. I love talking. Anyone who knows me knows that I absolutely love talking.
Yeah.
But there was nothing left to give. And I didn't want to talk to anyone. I'd ripped Scott's head off. I wasn't sleeping. I didn't want to eat. I hated exercising. And it was to the point where we ended up shutting the workshop down for 4 weeks. We closed up and we disappeared up north, where there was no phone service. Because I couldn't, if there was no phone service, I couldn't check my phone.
Yeah.
And I couldn't feel
didn't
bad.
have to people please.
That's right. I didn't have to feel guilty for not being able to help anyone.
Yeah.
And that was where the idea of turning my phone on to Do Not Disturb came from.
Yeah.
Because that was that moment that I realised that without access to those phone calls, I didn't feel guilty.
Yeah.
So if I could get rid of them and I could not see them.
Yeah.
So, the workshop phone goes on Do Not Disturb, goes in the cupboard. and I don't see it and I don't peek at it.
Yeah.
But it has taken me a good couple of years to not look at it.
Yeah.
Because, on Do Not Disturb, you still get your messages, you still get your phone calls.
Yeah.
But if I put it away, then I don't look at it.
Yeah, and it doesn't interrupt what you're doing in that moment, which is giving to your family time or whatever it is that you're doing, that is your priority in that moment. Yeah.
And it's boundaries about, setting up your family time and your business time and your work time and your friend time, because if you try and do them all at once, you end up doing a shit job of everything.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. We've spoken about that lots of times.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yep.
And it's true, like on my homeschooling day, I take Alice off to ice skating, then the phone rings and you spend your time on the phone trying to hose fires, and I'm being a shit parent, and then I'm also being shit at work because I'm getting frustrated because I'm not there.
Yeah.
And it's just, I'm not putting in the full effort.
Yeah, it's not that quality. And it's a snowball of frustration, because what you actually want to do is just be present in the moment. So I have the same thing with homeschooling boys. They're constantly asking me every 5 seconds because I'm trying to get the dishes done, and then I'm thinking, well, I've got to get prepped for work as well, and then so I am trying to do it all and not really achieving much and just getting mad at them.
Yeah.
It's not their fault.
And then mad at yourself because you think, well, am I doing enough? I'm not doing enough.
Yeah.
And it all comes back to that self-talk and
Yeah.
telling ourselves that if we don't do it all, we're not good enough.
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess it's in the day, giving yourself that block of time. This is when we're doing our homeschool. This is when I'm going to get some housework done or none. What was the other point I was going to say?
Have you been through burnout before?
I did once back before we had kids. I was just getting into personal training, and I was doing mornings and night classes and doing PT in the middle of the day. So I'm up at 4:30 and I'm back home by 9 p.m. And that was every single day. I was also younger and partying. So I was like burning the candles, but I just woke up one day and I just could not get out of bed. And that was a turning point where I thought, okay, well, something's going to have to give.
It really is amazing how our bodies do let us know that they've had enough.
Yeah.
And they've just had enough. It's time to slow down.
Yeah.
Before this just turns into something bigger than what you expect it to be.
Yeah, and I think it's the big key is the lack of joy. Yeah.
Yep. Oh yeah, that's
especially in things that you really love to do.
Oh, absolutely. I love my businesses and I love talking, and to not have desire to do that, and training even, training changed my life.
Yeah.
As we've talked about many a times. So to not enjoy any of that, it was definitely a wake up call.
Yeah.
Although I am guilty of knowing when I'm slipping back into burnout and sometimes just not being able to do anything about it.
Yeah, and I think everyone's situation is different, and sometimes, if you're a single parent, it's all on you, and that's a really hard cross to bear. Perhaps you can reach out to friends and ask for some support.
Absolutely. And just building that support network, like we talked about, that, there's no village anymore.
Yeah.
There's no village anymore, and you don't have that. It feels like you don't have that support network. But I can guarantee you that there's plenty of other women out there who feel the same way.
Yeah.
And are just longing for that support network.
Yeah.
I know I was. I know I was. And for us, the best decision we ever did was to buy the gym and to move where we've moved, because without it, I wouldn't have seen just how much a community makes a difference to your life.
Massive.
And that's where you also have to swallow your pride and also ask for help.
Yes.
And be ready to accept help. And I think especially when you're heading down towards burnout, because we are so self-aware and don't want to let anyone down and don't want to let ourselves down, that asking for help is the last thing we want to do.
Yeah, and you don't want to burden anyone. You know that everyone else has got busy lives as well. But I always think about when my friends are going through a hard time and I say, just reach out to me, call me, I'm here for you. Oh, I don't want to burden you. No, I want to be here for you.
Yeah.
We want to be there for each other.
Yeah.
And you do make the time.
But it's so hard to accept that too, isn't it? That it's so hard to accept that you're willing to give everything for someone. Why would they be able to, like, you don't want them to take on that same burden.
Yeah.
And I don't understand why there's such that line in the sand that, you know, oh, well, I'll do everything, but I don't want them to do everything.
Yeah. I think it's conditioning.
Yep, very much so. You know, you see the hustle mentality. Absolutely the hustle mentality, where you're expected to do, if you want to get ahead, you've got to do everything. Yeah. If you want to succeed in business, you've got to work 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
You know, if you want to, you know, break into the $1 Million Club, you know, you've got to work hard every day. You've got to do this, you've got to do that.
Yeah.
I know for my mechanical business, we earn more money doing less hours than when we were in the beginning doing 14-hour days.
Really?
Absolutely. Because we're more productive.
Yeah. Yeah. That actually makes me think of in training when you're saying smooth as...
smooth is slow as smooth is fast.
Yes.
Yeah.
So when you breathe and just steady the pace, slow down a little bit, you can actually get through more rounds because you haven't absolutely smashed yourself in the first round.
Yeah, I actually never thought of it like that. But it's definitely the same at the workshop. Like what we can achieve in an 8-hour day versus a 14-hour day. After 8 hours, everything slows down. Everything slows down.
Yeah.
You start to get tired, and then you back it up with a second day, and then a third day, and then mistakes start to happen, and then people start to get hurt, and like it's just, and I guess it's the same in training. You know, if you're constantly redlining rather than, you know, moving through the movements slow and steady, mistakes start to happen.
Yeah.
You burn out. Yeah. You burn out really quickly. It's like jumping on an air bike and going like full out for the first 30 seconds and then...
I don't know what that's like.
Dying. I don't, because I hate the air bike.
So do I. It's my nemesis. It is the devil. But and I think it's like the expectations then that we put on our kids as well about how much they have to do and how many extra sports that we're putting and how many extracurricular activities on top of if they go to school.
Absolutely. And I think one of the positives of homeschooling is that you can choose how much you cram into a day.
Yeah.
So, you know, when Alice went to school, she'd go to school for that 8 hours, but they didn't work for 8 hours. So, you know, we get all our bookwork done in the first 2 hours of the day. Honestly, she could get it done in 30 minutes if she didn't stuff around so much. Yeah. But we get it done in the first 2 hours.
I understand.
We get it done in the first 2 hours of the day, and then she's got the rest of the day. She's got the rest of the day to work on projects that she likes. She's got the rest of the day to do things that light her up.
Yeah.
Rather than things that, you know, things that she has to do.
Yeah.
And that's, although at the moment she's doing a lot of sports, but we took the approach that she can do things that light her up.
Yes.
So if they light her up, I'll move heaven and earth to make it happen.
Yes. Yeah.
But, you know, if you're going just for the sake of going, then we're not doing it.
Yeah.
Because it's too many expectations.
Yeah. Yeah, I think in terms of the boundaries with the homeschooling as well, it's when I was first starting, I would allow it to just stretch out through the whole day, and then at the end of the day I've got all this other stuff to do because I was just allowing them to take over the whole situation. I don't want to do it. Okay, well, we'll just wait until you're ready. So now this is our block of time in the day because mum has other things that need to be done.
Yeah.
And it's important for them to know what those boundaries are, because in life they're going to be faced with boundaries from other people.
Oh, well, you know, at the end of the day, we are trying to raise, young adults who will eventually go off and get jobs and be in relationships. And you want them to understand that, at a job you've got boundaries. You've got tasks that you have to get done in time frames. Yeah. It doesn't matter what job you do. There's still things you've got to get done in time frames. As a personal trainer, you get an hour to run a group fitness class, right? You only get so long for warm-ups, so long for the strength, so long for the workout, so long for stretching. Yeah. You know, you can't continuously go over.
No.
It just ruins everyone else's day. And it's the same at the workshop. You know, you allow so many hours for a job. If that takes double the time, then it's pushing back someone else's job.
Yes. Yeah.
So it really does come down to teaching our young people that there is boundaries in life.
Yeah, it's respecting others' time, but it's then also respecting themselves. When we can show that we have set that boundary, no, we're not going to be doing this all day, and mum or dad has this to do, they will learn to see that they also need to respect themselves and what they will say no to.
It'll teach them to value themselves and value their own time, because our time is important, and saying yes to everyone else, as we said, takes away from your time.
Yeah.
So if we can teach them that it's okay to say no, it's okay to say no to that extra job, it's okay to say no to an extra couple of hours at work, it's okay to, say, look, this is the time that we're going to school today, and then after that, this is our playtime while mum does this. That's teaching them all these skills that they need for life.
Yeah.
And all right, well, I went to school, and you were still taught those skills, but we were definitely, when I was younger, you were definitely taught if you were told to do something, you had to do it all.
Yes. Yeah. I definitely felt an overwhelm when I was in high school. There was so much to do.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I think I was nearly even close to a burnout in high school, trying to finish everything.
Trying to get everything done.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's tough. Yeah. But it's just, it comes down to, the expectations we put on ourselves around boundaries and what society does as well.
Yeah.
It's all in that same pool and all in that self-talk. How do you overcome the negative self-talk? How do you stop that happening when, you've gone, well, I can't do this all and I'm a failure? How do you break out of that?
That's a good question.
Sorry.
Okay, well, I actually came to Jade only the other week about that, feeling like a failure as a mother teaching the kids and not being able to do what I needed to do.
It was a very very real conversation. Laura was mid-lifting.
Yeah.
There was tears.
Yeah. There's often tears when I'm lifting, sweat and tears. And it was talking about those that you didn't feel like you were getting what you needed to get done. And I reminded Laura that it's a season. Yes, that was the key.
Yeah.
Realising it's a season, taking a step back, talking to someone and getting a fresh perspective.
Yeah,
I think definitely
that is really good advice.
Yeah,
taking someone else's fresh perspective and being open to that perspective too. So like, I know, super guilty, something's gone wrong, I go talking to Scott and I want him to side with me. I don't want him to give me solutions.
Yeah.
I'm not open to his solutions. They might be good solutions, but I don't want them.
No.
But that is something that I need to work on. I need to work on accepting his solutions because they are that outside perspective.
Yeah.
For me, I didn't realise the value that I could bring to the business if I wasn't doing everything until someone pointed it out to me.
Yeah.
Someone other than my core support network.
Yeah.
I know you've been telling me off for a while.
What do I know?
But I speak to a business mentor, and we had a bit of a chat, and it was a bit of a tough chat, and I felt embarrassed on what had been going on. So trying to run 2 businesses and homeschool, I've dropped the ball a bit. I needed an extra bit of help. And instead of getting help, I just kept trying to do it all myself. Yeah. And I dropped the ball. Yeah. I can't do it all.
Yeah.
Which I've been telling Laura for the last 12 months. But no, I didn't listen. And he just said, your value is the people side of things. Mm-hmm. Like if you're not doing everything, you can bring value. And I went, I can bring value other than doing everything.
Yeah, absolutely. And you actually offer up other people to step up and them to bring their qualities and gifts and talents into it.
Yep.
When you can step back
and
focus on what you're really good at.
And then I proceeded to tell you about the meltdown I had. We've got a new coach coming into the gym. And I had a bit of a meltdown because I love coaching and I love being at the gym every day. And I had a meltdown that what if I can't provide the same level of care to everyone if I'm not there every day? Mm. But I know by not coaching every day, I'm going to be able to give more to the members.
Yeah.
But in my head at that point, I was like, well, if I'm not doing it all, I'm going to fail.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's about talking to others and taking a step back.
Yeah.
And recognizing that you're sabotaging yourself.
Yeah. And it's giving it a holistic approach to everything rather than it can only work this way.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's no right or wrong way. There's always a season, and we just have to get through each season as it comes.
Yes.
But you need to definitely have that person that you can share that information with.
Without the judgment.
Without the judgment, absolutely.
Yeah, I don't ever judge her on anything she comes with. Just raise an eyebrow.
I know when what I've said is something that I really shouldn't be thinking because the eyebrow goes up. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm wrong.
But I was actually thinking about this the other day when you were coming to me about that, trying to do everything. It completely mirrored what I'm like at home, trying to do it all.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I completely understand. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's still hard, even though and I see a lot of what I do in you as well. But it's so easy to see it in someone else. Mm. It's so easy to see that someone else is not creating solid boundaries.
Yeah.
But then to see it in yourself and to admit it and to try and do something about it, that's the hard part.
Yeah, well, I think you also get attached to things within your life, so it's having to let things go.
Yeah.
Especially when you're so passionate about them.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then things won't ever evolve if we can't let go and channel things in different ways.
Yeah. And that is the importance of, recognising what you're doing and looking at positive ways to frame it rather than going into the negative aspect of, I'm not good enough or I haven't achieved enough. One of your positives is you let other people into it. You get to see their value. You get to see them thrive.
Yeah.
Yeah. You teach the kids how to stack the dishwasher. You get to see them grow as little adults.
Yes. Yeah.
You get to put their own washing away. Yes, it might go in their drawer and they might throw it in their drawer and you think, why did I waste my time folding it?
Yeah.
But you get to see them evolve into little adults.
Yes, and that's also releasing the perfectionism around things as well. Like, people won't do it the way that I do it.
As my eye twitches as I walk past the kids' bedroom.
Yeah. And I think as well, which I think will tie in nicely to our next one about self-care, is that it's about respecting yourself and loving yourself by setting these boundaries. You're not a bad person by saying no. It's not that you don't care by saying no.
Yeah.
But in order to give enough, you have to say no. Sometimes.
Yeah, you have to not take on all the extra work that's just not needed.
Yeah.
Does it bring value to my life?
Yeah.
Does it take away from something that is important to me? Does it take away from my family time? Does it take away from what I'm trying to achieve?
Yeah.
And if it does, well, then the answer has to be no.
Yeah. What would happen if I say no? What would happen if I say yes? And then weigh that up.
You can't do everything. As much as you want to do everything, you just can't. There's physically not enough hours in a day.
Yeah.
My to-do list gets bigger every day, but I know that I'm never going to achieve it all. So I need to pick the core things and get them done.
Yeah.
And if it was that important, they'd need to be done right now.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a really good tip.
Yeah. So if they're not if they were so important that they needed to be done, they'd need to be done now. But they don't need to be done now. So why are they on my list? Yeah.
And sometimes the hard things you just don't want to do.
That's a whole other topic.
That's true. Well, I think we've covered everything that we wanted to chat about. But definitely reach out. I think that getting the fresh perspective from where you can is a really big help. And
just admitting to yourself that it's okay not to achieve everything. It's okay not to, the kids have been yelling mum 20 million times a day. It's okay not to get the dishes done. It's okay to not reply to those 20 emails you got today or those 20 messages, or, it's okay to ignore the phone call after hours.
Yeah, or not to go to every social event.
Yeah, not to fill up your weekends. If you know that weekends are your downtime, don't accept invites to fill them up.
Yeah.
Which I'm super guilty for.
Me too. That's why I said it.
All right, thank you for listening to episode 3 of Between the Lines.
It was really great to share with you and with you guys. And please click subscribe and like if you liked what you heard today, and join our Facebook group.
Absolutely. You'll catch links to our podcast and obviously the YouTube video on our Facebook page, on our Instagram page. You can also reach out if there's something that you want to hear about. Reach out, let us know, and we will add it to the list. We've got a few exciting ones coming up and can't wait to share.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.